You've probably heard of deja vu, that feeling of being in a present moment before. But have you ever heard of Deja Reve, sometimes referred to as precognitive dreams? Deja Reve falls into three distinct categories. First, episodic dreams, which is a recollection of the dream. Second, vague dreams, which are more reminiscent or familiar. And third is experiences, which is a feeling of being in a dreamlike state. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the three parts of this phenomena of Deja Reve, or cognitive dreams. Before we get into the video, like and subscribe. And to further support the channel, click the Patreon link in the description below. Here are some ways to think about each category. Episodic dreams are almost prophetic, where you gain some sort of information regarding the future, like having a conversation with someone in your dream and having that same scenario play out in real life, leaving you with an odd revelation of prior awareness to the situation. Vague dreams can be associated with unspecified connections. You may dream about a person in a subconscious preparation for an upcoming event with them, but not be able to recall any detail of the event when you wake up. Only the people involved are pertinent to the real world, not the actual subject matter of the dream. Or you could be overcome by strong emotions in your dream and not be able to perceive why, until that future event reveals itself to you and that strong feeling or intuition you felt will make more sense. Lastly is an experience, or a dreamlike state, that can be thought of as a person experiencing feelings and sensations that are similar to nightly dreaming. People describe being put into a state similar to sleeping, but during the day and while awake. There are plenty of examples of these phenomena presenting themselves in real life. The first notable example is Abraham Lincoln. President Lincoln described a dream to his family and friends. In the dream, he discovers walking through the White House halls until he discovers a casket in the East Room. He is overcome by dread as he peers into the casket to see his own body laying lifeless in the box. 2 weeks later, while attending a show, he is assassinated in Ford's Theater. Another example is Carl Jung, one of the key founders of modern psychotherapy. He describes a series of 3 visions he had starting in October of 1913. He writes in his autobiography of an overpowering vision involving a monstrous flood that covered all the northern and low-lying lands between the North Sea and the Alps. He envisioned the Swiss Alps growing higher and higher to protect the country, and seas of blood filled with thousands of lifeless bodies. A few months later, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated, and World War I was underway. The last, and possibly most bizarre instance of precognitive dreams is from 1966 in Aberfan, a small mining village in South Wales. After 3 weeks of heavy rain, a spoil slurry was created that engulfed the Pantglos Junior School and a row of homes. Nearly 150 children and adults were killed when this landslide came crashing into the town. Psychiatrist John Barker visited Aberfan after the disaster and interviewed most of the residents. He realized that many of the town members had some type of premonition about the event. Residents stated that some of the children who had died from the accident mentioned unsettling dreams or premonitions about dying a few days before the event. Even stranger, Barker advertised in a London newspaper asking town members if they could recall the days prior to the accident. He received over 60 replies from residents describing their experiences from the landslide. About half of the responders mentioned dreaming of a disaster prior to the incident occurring. This could be one of the first recorded instances of mass deja reve. Research suggests that anywhere from 1/3 to half of all humans have some type of precognitive experience, usually in the form of a dream that seems to come true. The amount of people experiencing this phenomenon would suggest it's fairly common for people to have these occurrences. But why? And how does this phenomenon occur? What allows us to experience these visions or feelings of future events? Nobody knows for certain, but there are some theories. The first theory is that time is a circle. Our souls live outside of that linear timeline. Our souls have experienced this before in a past life, and we're recounting the prior, but also the simultaneous future events to our lives. Our future or past self is trying to warn us of predetermined events to follow. This is our brain's way of interpreting those signs, offering a glimpse into the future. This theory is a little far-reaching, and there's no evidence to back up its claim, but it's interesting to envision the possibilities. Next theory, this is a form of subconscious preparation or manifestation, similar to the first theory that our brain is trying to warn us. However, this theory revolves around the idea that our subconscious is picking up signs in the real world that our conscious brain is missing, trying to forewarn us of danger that we are unable to perceive in our current state of mind. A look into the projections of the subconscious mind, linking the conscious and subconscious together. This theory holds a little more water, but there's still not enough understanding of the subconscious mind to come to a definitive answer. Lastly, this is just a brain activity phenomenon. Researchers used electrical brain stimulation on epileptic patients who mentioned having these experiences during seizures. When stimulating the brains of these patients, each phenomena was triggered by stimulating separate regions of the brain. The episodic recollection was triggered by electrically stimulating the medial temporal lobes, 3 in the rhinal cortex, 1 in the hippocampus, and 1 in the medial temporal pole. Familiar reminiscence was also triggered from electrically stimulating the medial temporal lobes. This makes sense since it's familiar to episodic, just less detailed. However, to trigger a dreamlike state, electrical brain stimulation was mostly on the lateral neocortex. This is a different region of the brain and controls different aspects of the mind and body. This phenomenon seems present in multiple parts of the brain. This could be a function that our brains are meant to tap into, that we are not finely enough in tune with the minute details needed to fully grasp these functions. This research could be the first stepping stone to a more concrete understanding of the mind. If we can figure out what is setting off these phenomena in the brain, we can essentially reverse engineer the concept to see the exact stimuli needed to trigger these occurrences, analyze the observations, and come to a conclusion on the origins of this phenomenon. Whether this is a natural occurrence or more of a mystical one that requires a greater understanding. There are a lot of mysteries in this world, and I think exploring these with an open mind is the best way to approach them, and life in general. Things that were thought to be impossible years ago are possible today, and the same will happen with things in the future, with things that we feel are impossible today. It's always best to have an open mind to the infinite possibilities of life, because life is always stranger than fiction. It doesn't have to abide by the rules of logic and reasoning. If you'd like to stimulate your brain, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. If you'd like to support the channel, click the Patreon link in the description and choose a package that works best for you. I will showcase any supporters at the end of my videos. Thank you and see you in the next one. Peace.